Okay guys, so you've probably seen tons of content out there online about how to get rich in real estate, how to buy real estate with no money down, yada yada yada, from all the different gurus, subject to financing, all these different options, all these different things out there. If you're listening to Bigger Pockets, you're seeing it, you're getting advertisements. If you're on Facebook and you're interested in real estate, you're seeing it, you're getting offers. Um, my hope with this video is to give you what's real and how you can truly buy real estate using very little to none of your own money. Um, the first and most important part of that is, how do you find the deals that actually make this possible? So there's a multitude of ways that you can do this. In my experience, the best ways, the highest volume way, number one, is through agents and brokers. And when I say that, I do not mean the listings that they have sitting in the MLS. Every agent, every broker in your market is likely to have some deal that they know might be for sale sitting on the side, or maybe they have a permission to show or an office exclusive listing or something like that. You are not going to get access to those deals, and this could be 50+% of your deal flow easily, even if you're doing substantial marketing to try to find off-market deals. So it's very important that you build a system to network with and market to all of these agents in your market, specifically the top producers, specifically the ones that are doing a lot of cash transactions, because those are people working with high-level investors. So get out there, get out in the real estate community, schedule lunches with these people, schedule coffee with these people, send these people periodic emails, even automate that process. Market to the agents and brokers in your market, telling them you want deals, explaining why they should work with you, why you're going to make it easy, why you're going to be a closer, and why they know they're going to get paid at the end when they work with you. This is one of the first things I would recommend any new investor doing, building that agent and broker network. Because we got to find deals that are, 80% or less of the market value all in for any of this to be able to work. The second thing is direct to seller. So if you're an investor and you are not marketing direct to seller, so you are not driving for dollars, farming neighborhoods, doing mailings, you are not going to generate your own leads. You are not going to get direct to seller meetings where you can go in and negotiate with them yourselves and set the terms and the expectations of the potential deal that you're looking at. In my experience, the best thing that you can do is drive for dollars, door knock in neighborhoods, and build a list off of those door knockings and driving for dollars that you've done, specifically looking for dilapidated properties, properties with for rent signs in front, properties with lawns overgrown, properties that look like they need new roofs put on them. Anything that could be a problem for a seller that maybe they don't want to deal with, maybe they don't want to make the investment, maybe they don't really have time to manage it properly, which there's a solution for that, but some people seem to forget that. These are the people that you should be putting on a list, getting on your county parcel search site, getting their mailing addresses, and sending handwritten envelopes, hand-stamped envelopes, even handwritten notes, handwritten letters that just say something like, hey, I'm interested in your property at such and such address. Please give me a call at this number below. Very simple, very basic, very cost effective if you do it in a targeted, specific way on properties you may have interest in. And this will generate a lot of leads for you if you do it consistently and with enough volume. The third way that I would say to find deals outside of those two is going to your real estate investment clubs, going to local real estate investors association meetups, networking with other real estate investors, because guess what? Even other real estate investors sometimes make a mistake or sometimes get themselves in a situation where they need to offload a property at a discount. So being in those groups, being a name that comes to mind for them as a disposition strategy when they need to exit an investment for a multitude of reasons, may be a way to find yourself some deals as well. You can find them sometimes in the MLS. Sometimes there are anomalies. Sometimes you can be looking on Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, and maybe there's something that is listed as a 1-bedroom, 1-bath house, but it's got a slab covered porch on the back that can be converted into a bedroom and a bathroom. So now it's a 2-2 instead of a 1-1, and you add massive value to this property. Same thing, maybe there's a oddly laid out 2-bed, 1-bath that is, for some reason, it's 1,400 square feet. So and you can buy it at the price of a 2-bedroom, 1-bath that's much smaller, let's say, that needs work, and you can modify that layout and create a 3-2, or you can add a garage, or you can do various things. There are anomalies in the MLS. They are rare, but I do suggest, if you're trying to put max effort in this, make sure you scour the MLS specifically for those type of anomalous situations where maybe there's more square footage than there should be for that typical bedroom bathroom count. So once you've found the deal, the easiest, simplest way is somehow you have found a deal that, with minimal work, minimal changes in management, almost no effort, you're buying it at something like 75 to 80% of the true market value of the property. These deals do exist. You can find them. You can negotiate them. Sometimes sellers will agree to this because they have specific motivations, like maybe somebody has died or is about to, and this is a sad thing to think, but if this happens and they don't sell it quickly, they may get none of the proceeds for various reasons, like potential future liens on the house through Medicare, Medicaid, potential estate, probate, planning issues from their family. So if they don't sell it prior to, they may get no proceeds. Possibly they're going through a divorce, and they're being forced to liquidate things through the divorce. And if they could get a quick cash, easy sale, which, even if you don't have cash, doesn't mean you can't buy this house, doesn't mean you can't do it with no money down. This video is probably not going to cover that, but there's ways to finance deals still with zero money, assuming the deal is right. But the easiest way to actually buy real estate using none of your own money is to just find such a good deal that requires minimal to no work, minimal to no management changes and effort, that is at 75 to 80% of the actual market value of the property. So it's obviously important that you know what the market value is. We call it an ARV if there's repairs involved, or management changes, upgrades involved. That's after repair value. So you got to be able to know that number. Again, not going to be able to cover everything in this one video, this one course, but that is the basic thing you need to understand. I've got to buy it at 75 to 80% or less of the ARV with my all-in cost for the investment to get it a zero money down deal with that method. The next thing is you can actually buy something that you have to add value to in some way, either through management or renovations or a combination of both, that with the purchase price and the costs to make the modifications, either the management modifications or the structural, mechanical, appearance modifications to the property, it would be 75 to 80% of the ARV, that after repair value, all in. So cost of purchase and renovation / management change costs would be 75 to 80% of that after repair value, because then the bank will loan you 80% of the after repaired value, and that's all you paid. So now you own a property, you have a mortgage for 80% of the value, and you just got 20% equity. If that deal was worth $100,000 ARV and you bought it for 40 and you put 40 in it to make it worth 100,000, you're going to be in at zero of your own money. And again, there is a way to get the money to finance the purchase and the renovation, not utilizing the bank. Go to the bank after the fact. and get that more advantageous bank financing in place so that the deal makes sense after it's done. And you just got $20,000 for just finding that deal, doing whatever that minimal amount of rehab work is. Especially in multifamily, sometimes you can find deals that you can buy at, okay, multifamily's worth the income that it produces. It's worth a capitalization rate divided by, it's worth the net operating income divided by the capitalization rate. That is what multifamily is worth. If it's anything over 5 units, I do not care what other stuff has sold for. It is irrelevant. What it is worth is, what does it produce in income, gross income, less the operating expenses, that's your net operating income, divided by whatever the market capitalization rate is, or whatever capitalization rate you're targeting for your investment. That is the value. So a lot of times in multifamily, they are being mismanaged. A lot of people are self-managing these properties. They don't have professional management. They don't have time to really do it properly. And maybe they're way under rented. Maybe they've had a bunch of tenants in there. They think, I've got all these wonderful tenants, I'm going to keep them in there for life by keeping their rent the same. And now 10 years later, their rent's $425 a month and it should be $900 a month. So it's very, very easy when you find a deal like this to just buy it, go in, raise rents by 20, 30, 40, 50% sometimes, and you automatically raise the value by that percentage, because that is how multifamily properties are valued. So now let's say you've bought a multifamily property for $500,000 based on the current value, based on the income that it produces. You've been able to come in and raise the income it produces by 30%. So now it's worth, or by 50%, sorry. So now it's worth $1 million. Well, you can go get a loan for $800,000. So even if it costs you $300,000 to get from this $500,000 as is purchase, between renovations, management changes, restructuring, vacancies, all that stuff, you would still be out $0 to purchase that $1 million multifamily property, and you would have $200,000 worth of equity built in that you paid $0 for. That is a real strategy. It is a real thing that people do. I've done it myself many times. Most people that you know that own a bunch of real estate have done something very similar, or else they wouldn't have been able to acquire as much property as they have. Another way that you can purchase real estate using none of your own money, and this is a legitimate strategy, is you can negotiate seller financing with a seller. So sometimes, this is rare, but you may find a seller who doesn't need the cash, does not want to pay a huge sum of taxes, and as long as you time it up right and structure the deal right, where the income over time makes sense for them, they will finance 100% of the deal for you. That is unlikely. What's more likely is that they will do it at a lower down payment than what a bank will. Maybe they'll take 5% down, maybe they'll take 10% down, something like that. So again, you stretch your cash farther. Another way to truly get 100% down with seller financing that is more common than them just financing 100% of the purchase to you is for the seller to carry a second mortgage. So what can happen is, let's say, and you may not get such a great deal. You may not have to buy this at 75 to 80% of value for this to play out where you own the property with zero money down. But you go get your 75 or 80% mortgage from the bank, and then you get the seller to agree to carry a second mortgage, which is a inferior position to the bank. So if it was to be foreclosed on, the bank would get their money first, the seller would get their money second. They know that, they understand when they agree to the terms. There are legal contracts that you can use that are out there readily available. Many attorneys can draft deals like this. Most real estate agents and brokers have enough knowledge to help you draft deals like this. I've done that myself many times as well. So as an example, let's say the property's worth $100,000. The bank gives you $80,000. The seller agrees to carry a $20,000 second mortgage. Obviously, these are harder to cash flow. You have two payments. A lot of times the second mortgage terms and interest rates are not as favorable as the bank interest rates. So this is a strategy that I would look to employ less than some of the other ones that we talked about before. There's still other ways yet to buy real estate using none of your own money. One of those is subject to the seller's mortgage or mortgage assumption. So again, a lot of times I feel like these are people who are in somewhat desperate situations for some reason, but they may allow you to assume or purchase their property subject to their existing mortgage. Meaning that person, if you assume it, then that means that you become responsible for it and the lender has agreed for you to become responsible for the mortgage. If you buy it subject to the existing mortgage, that means that that seller is relying on you to make the mortgage payments and they're still responsible for the mortgage. But sometimes people, just to get out of their mortgages, just to get out of their mortgage payments, just to be done with the property and move on, will agree to this. I'm not the expert on subject to an assumption. I've never done a subject to an assumption myself. I would probably suggest that you go buy a course or listen to some videos from Pace Morby online if you really want to get into the subject to an assumption game. I'm not that guy at this point in time. So, and then really the last way that I know of that I've done myself several times over as well to get into real estate using none of your own money is through partnerships. So quite often there are people out there who have money that they need to. There's a lot of it out there, believe it or not. There's almost infinite amounts in a fractional banking system. So money is abundant, prevalent, and if you believe otherwise, I would suggest shifting your mindset, because there's as much of it out there as you want to get your hands on, and there's a lot of people with it. And if you're doing the right things in the world and you're adding value in the world, you will find those people and they will find you, and you can partner up and they can fund your real estate investments in exchange for an interest rate, in exchange for equity percentage, or some combination of an interest rate and an equity percentage. There's various ways to structure partnerships, but a lot of times the best partnerships are the one where somebody's the money and somebody's the sweat, and it's very determined up front, and there's a legal agreement in writing up front of who's going to do what the responsibilities are, what the payback is. Just make it very clear so that there's no discrepancies or issues later down the road with your partner. Make it very clear that there's a dissolution in place if you guys decide to dissolve the partnership, how that works, who gets what, where the money goes. And I would suggest, if you're the person going out, finding the deals, doing the work, seeking the money, that if something goes wrong, if it doesn't go exactly as planned, if there's modifications to be made, that to continue being the guy that people want to give money to, always be the one that makes it right. Always be the one that takes the little bit shorter end of the stick when things don't quite work out the way that you expected, because that is going to happen from time to time in real estate. I know this is not comprehensive. I hope you find it valuable. I hope that you all can go out and buy a bunch of real estate, make a lot of money, build a lot of future wealth for yourself, and make a financial future that you never even dreamed possible.